Ouch. We can see. Hold on. Okay, no problem. Hey, you guys. So, literally, I'm going to be doing, let me just make sure like everything's put together. This is a lot. I've never done this before. Yes. So, I've never done this before, but I'm doing an interview with a special guest today from Squid Games. Um, so yeah. Word. Okay. Hold on, let me see. Hi. Oh my God, could I hear you? Could I hear you? Hold on. Why is it not sounding? I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Oh wait, let me add. Oh, okay, now I could
Can
hear
you hear
you.
me now?
Yes, I could hear you. Yes.
Awesome.
Oh my God. So hi, how are you? Like,
I'm
what's
good. How are you? Can you see me okay? I'm doing it on my phone, but I can get on my
oh,
computer if
you might
that's.
have to turn it like around
Is
or
it this way that's
yeah,
better?
this way, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Even though it's up and down, that's fine.
Yes, yes. This is fine. Yes. So how
Okay,
are you like
great.
how are you? How's everything after like the show, like you being on TV?
Oh my goodness, it has been the craziest experience. So, as I'm sure you know, we filmed back in February.
Yes,
So, you
I
come
heard.
from filming and you're on this high, right? Where everything's
Yeah.
exciting and everything's going good and you can't wait for the show to drop. And then you have to wait almost 9 months for the show to actually
Yeah.
release. So, you kind of come down from that high a little bit. And then the show does drop and you go right back up there. So, it has just
Yeah.
been a whirlwind of emotion.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So and you guys filmed in February 2024, right?
Yes.
Oh my God.
February 2025. It was February of
20
this year.
oh,
Yeah.
this year. Oh my God. Okay. That's crazy. So like let me see. So how did you get on Squid Game?
I watched the first season with my family at home for Christmas. We were looking for something to watch, turned it on, and I remember at the end it said, "Send in an application if you want to be considered
Oh my
for
God.
season two."
Yeah.
I've always loved reality TV. I've been
Yeah.
iffy about going on a dating show, so this seemed perfect for me, a competition reality show that isn't outside in the desert, but instead like
Yeah.
inside. Still tough, but not necessarily survivor level tough. So I applied. I got a call maybe 6 months later, went through the casting process. I found out I was going to go on in November. So I had from
Oh
November to
wow. Okay.
February to prepare. I've heard people had as much time as 6 months, as little time as like 2 weeks. So I had a decent
Yeah.
amount of time to get ready to go on the show. So it was great. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So I have questions. So wait, what was your life before going on Squid Game? So like what was like your childhood before going on Squid Game? Like what was that about? Like how like what was life different before going on Squid Game?
That's a great question. Growing up, I'm a middle child, so I think I was used to competing for attention and competing
Yeah.
in my life naturally. So, grew up in Louisiana. I now live in Atlanta, Georgia, in a
Oh
much
wow.
bigger
Okay.
city. And
Atlanta.
I'm getting my PhD right now. So honestly, before
Oh
going on the
wow.
show, my life was relatively boring in a good way,
Yeah.
right? Like I like
Yeah.
to have a boring life. And since the show, my life is still relatively boring. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the
This
type of show that changes your life, but I
yeah.
have so many more friends now. I have the
Oh wow.
closest connections I've ever had because you don't bond like this
Yeah,
unless you
you don't.
experience something like this with someone else. So we have friends for a lifetime now.
Do you have like friends from like other shows as well? Because I was like, we have a lot of mutuals. So I was like, oh my God, like that's crazy.
Oh, really? I've never been on another show, but I have had friends that I know go on Big Brother and The
Oh
Bachelor,
wow, okay.
Bachelorette, so probably
Oh, The
just stuff like
Bachelor.
that, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know why. Like when I think of Squid Game, I also think of the show like Trader. So I'm just like think of like
Oh,
all the
yeah.
game shows. Would you go on like another reality show, or like another game show, or even maybe dating?
Absolutely. I don't know about dating. I'm pretty particular with the way I date, and not that
Yeah,
dating is easy at all, but I don't necessarily want to make it even more difficult by going on a show and then having that be kind of part of my personality arc when
yeah,
I get
that's
off. And
true.
not everybody's into that. So I
Oh yeah,
love
that's
those shows.
true.
I love watching them. I don't think
Me
it's necessarily
too.
for me, but I would love to go on a show like Traders. Yeah.
Traders, I've been watching it and it's been like so good. Like I'm watching season 2 right now and I wouldn't say it's good as season 1. Like
I
season
agree.
season 1 was good, but when I'm watching season 2 right now, I'm like, wait, like this is insane.
It is.
So I've been like hearing a lot of speculations about like, just tea that happened behind the scenes on Squid Game. Like what happened behind the scenes on Squid Game? And like what's it like filming behind the scenes on Squid Game?
That is a crazy question because from being on the show to watching the show, it's almost like, wait, was this the same show I was on? Because you see, for every minute that you see,
Yeah.
there's 8 hours of footage you don't see, right? And so it almost feels like this is just the tip of the iceberg of our experience. So
Yeah.
much happened behind the scenes from advantages that they never showed, conversations that
Yeah.
they never included, friendships that really ended up making a difference in the game that were
Yeah.
just never really seen. So tea and stuff, there weren't really too many relationships. I guess in a game like this, one, it's kind of gross. You don't really get to
Yeah.
shower too much. You don't
Oh
really
my
get to
God.
be very hygienic. So I think to have a crush or a relationship would be a kind of disgusting.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There were
No.
definitely people talk about people who were cute or people who were like good looking that they were into, but it kind of just stopped there because
Yeah.
again, you're just kind of gross in this
Yeah.
environment.
Oh my God. So like what if you were like sick? What if you were sick or like like women they go through a lot of stuff. It's like women they need to be the
Absolutely.
most hygienic. So it's just like how does that like for example like I heard like you couldn't bring stuff that weren't prescribed. So I'm just
Yeah.
like people what if you had certain people I don't know like just a lot of women they need a lot of stuff. So it's just
Absolutely.
like lip gloss, could you like bring lip gloss? Like I heard people sometimes can't bring lip gloss. Like it's just very strict.
Yeah, so they provide you with toothbrush, toothpaste, hairbrush, and Vaseline. So you did have something for your
Yeah.
lips. It wasn't
Okay.
beautiful and glossy, but it was enough to
Yeah.
keep your lips hydrated.
Okay.
And they had a really great medic on staff all the time. So 24/7, if you felt a sore throat or if you felt a little
Yeah.
snuffy, you could go to the medic and get some medicine, but you had to like see the doctor first. So if it
Oh,
wasn't what you
okay.
came there prescribed with, you had
Prescribed,
to go to
yeah.
the medic and
Oh
talk to
wow,
them to
that
get
must
even a cough drop. You can't even have like cough drops in your pocket. Everything's super regulated. But they did have a full-time medic. So a few
okay.
people did get sick. Not deathly sick, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah, no.
snuffy, feverish, didn't really feel
Okay.
good. But I would say between each game, most of the time, there's a whole dorm day. So if you're not feeling well, you can just sleep all day. I didn't want to sleep all day because I wanted screen
Yeah.
time and I want to meet people and I want to strategize. But if you were really under the weather,
Yeah.
you could just kind of recover that whole dorm day and be back at it the next day.
So did people like I was watching this season and like I saw like people they were like getting out, but it was like they wanted to get out of the competition. Like were there people who just died easily on the show because they didn't want to do the show anymore.
Yeah, that's
Oh
absolutely
wow.
true.
Okay.
I know one person in pentathlon was just not really a fan of the environment. It was too much for them.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm not going to say they threw their game, but they didn't do their best. There was
Oh
another
okay.
guy in Mingle that we walked into Mingle with, and we're telling him, come join our group, come with us. And he just kind of was
Yeah.
like, I'll figure it out, I'll figure it
Oh
out.
my
And we
god.
ended up realizing he just thought it was his time to go. So he wanted
Oh
to,
my god.
especially a game like Mingle, if other
Amigo.
people want to live and you don't necessarily want to be there, it's kind of a bold thing and a courageous thing to do to say, I'll just go ahead and send myself home so you guys can make it through. And so it was the first round, and he just kind of hung out, and he was one of the people left out of the room, and he's basically
Yeah.
self-sacrificed, but he just knew it was his time to go.
Oh my god. That's like, but I'm just like, you also have a lot of money on the line. So I'm just like, I honestly could never like just throw the game like that. Like I would have stayed no matter what. But then also it's just like I'm someone who go like like I couldn't imagine like I'm someone who goes through like a lot of like I would just say like issues with like stomach issues. Not well,
Yeah.
like like women they deal with like a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to it's like women deal with a lot more than men. So I'm just like I don't know if they could like I don't know. I just can't imagine like not being able to like use the bathroom a lot. Like I just couldn't imagine it. And I'm like I would be stressing like on the plane like okay, how am I going to survive Squid Games? Like like an environment like that.
Yeah, they definitely do a good job taking care of your physical health and your mental health. There's a
Yeah.
psychologist on staff all the time. There's a
Okay.
medic on staff all the time. They will close the bathrooms before a game starts, but of course, if it's an emergency and you need to go, they're gonna let you go. It's
Okay,
not
yeah.
prison.
Oh
It's
yeah,
they try to regulate everything, but at the end of the day,
yeah.
they're not going to keep someone from doing something that they need to do. And when
Yeah.
it comes to this self-sacrifice or the people that just kind of were ready to go home, I was fine, I was okay, but I was getting enough sleep, and I'm not a picky eater, so the food was
Yeah.
fine, and I had good
Oh wow.
alliances. I think for a lot of people who were picky eaters, they were hungry on top of everything.
Oh
So
my god.
imagine when you're hungry on a normal day, how it puts you in a bad mood. Imagine being hungry on top of this
Oh
high
my
intensity,
god.
extremely
And
structured environment. I think it
yeah.
is enough to make you say, I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get some good food and
I
talk to
don't
my
blame you guys.
family.
Yeah, I don't blame you guys. Cause it's like also just like you're already making money like from your day-to-day job. So it's like someone else could use this. So it's not like you
Yes.
have to get out. It's not like you have to get out. So like when it came to food, like did you so like you like the food? I heard a lot of people like they didn't like the food. Like it was
Yeah.
just like porridge. Like I was like, I can't imagine eating that. I'm a person who's picky. I'm particular in a certain way. Like I like a lot of fast food. So I'm just like, I'm looking at the food. I'm just like, wait, like I would have well, I probably would have ate it just for fuel, but I would have been like, that was like not
Right.
good. But I need to eat it because I want to stay in the game and
Yep.
win.
I think I'm not a picky eater in my real life. I always tell
Yeah.
guys that I go out with, like, don't spend a lot of money on dates because for
Yeah.
me, I'd be just as happy going to a cheap restaurant for food.
Exactly. No, exactly.
So we
Like,
did have porridge for breakfast every morning. That was the toughest one to choke down.
oh,
I think eventually got myself to eat 5 bites every morning, and I realized that kept me full until lunch. And I remember before we went on, the meals were described as basic but nutrient dense. And people were saying
okay.
that's a great way to describe bad food, right?
Oh my God.
So most of the meals were for lunch and dinner, it was rice, a veggie, and a protein. In any
That's
mixture,
not
it would
that
be
bad.
rice, maybe, but it's no seasoning. So just cooked
Oh,
ground beef and maybe some tomatoes and squash or
that's
something.
actually not that bad.
For me,
That's
again, not a picky
yeah,
eater, so I just ate what I liked, ate what I wanted to, and it gave me enough
yeah.
energy to go into the next meal at least.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not too bad, I'd
It
say.
wasn't horrible. I think some people are being a little dramatic, but also I'm not a picky eater, so I
Yeah,
can't necessarily say if they are or not.
that's true. How did you feel about, I don't know if you watched it, but Trinity giving up his spot like that? Like I was watching and I was just like, if it was me, I would have literally tricked Vanessa, the last
Yeah.
hand, and been like, "Okay, it's this hand," and then
Yeah.
she would have picked so that she could have, or like maybe he could have like done that, so
Exactly.
that he could have stayed like fourth, like from the top four. How like
Right.
what would you have done? Like, would you have given up your spot like that, or
That is a great question. So I knew Trinity throughout the whole game. He was one of my closest friends, and I knew him to be such a true Christian man the entire time I had known him.
Yeah.
I know right when he got eliminated, he called me. He was in the airport, and he said, "Holland, you're gonna be so proud of me. You're gonna see it, and you're gonna be so
Oh
proud of
my
me."
gosh.
And he said something like, "Remind me in 9 months how proud I was of myself when I got eliminated. If I second guessed myself then." And to ask myself, would I have done the same thing? I'm also a super strong Christian. And I would hope if I felt that same
Yeah.
true calling from Christ to give this up and put this down for the
Oh my
kingdom, that
God.
I would have done the same thing. But I cannot even answer that because I watch it and I'm just like you. I don't know if I would have been able to put it down
Me
for
neither.
that amount of money, making it that close. I think I would have gotten in my own head going, that can't be God. That can't be God. No, no, no.
Yeah.
God would want me to win and start tricking myself because it's such high stakes. So the fact that he was able to have that discernment in such a high stress environment is truly a
Yeah.
testament to who
That
he
is
is as a person.
no, that is like really good. I did, but I was like, I do feel bad. I'm like, no, that's something really nice to do. Like, especially like for the, especially like to Perla who won. Like, that's
Absolutely.
really nice to do. How do you feel about them doing red light, green light, like on the finale? Like, I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I could win that. Like, I could have won that.
Yeah. So we had expected to play that game the whole time we were there, right? It's an iconic game of Squid Game and Squid Game The Challenge season 1. And so you expect that the whole time, but when the numbers start dwindling, you think that's got to be out of the picture, right? Because Red Light Green
Yeah,
Light is a game that gets a lot of people out. And so
yeah.
to see when it dropped that they played it with only 4 people
I was
truly
like,
astonished
inside.
me. And the way it seemed like it happened so fast. I didn't even have time to grieve each of the characters as they got
Yeah,
out.
me
Steven,
neither.
Vanessa, Deja, it was just one by one by one.
Yeah,
But
Deja was
truly,
so
again,
tough.
it just tied it all back together, being such an
Yeah.
iconic game of Squid Game. So I was happy to see that played in the end.
Me too. I was so happy. People were like, "Oh my God, like that was supposed to be only from season one, and like how come season one did it outside and like season two did it inside?" I don't know
Yeah,
why I was like, "Yo, if I was on this season, like I feel like I could have won that." Because you like I didn't really at first I was like, "This seems hard," but I was like, "You all you have to do is kind of just like have balance, but you can't run fast. You can't
right.
run fast."
I remember when we first got into the game, everybody was talking about their strategy for red light, green light. And I was thinking, I didn't strategize. I don't even know how I would do this. Would I just stay in the same spot for 5 hours? How did you guys play for this or practice for this?
Yeah.
And they would say they shuffled or you have to walk sideways or you bend your knees so that you don't faint.
Oh
And
my
so
God,
I'm getting all these tips, I'm hearing all
that
these
would have
people's
been
strategy and then to not even play it except the top 4 people. But still, again, it was just
that's
so
crazy. Yeah.
interesting to watch. I'm glad they did finally tie it back in.
I'm glad they did too. Because when I watched the season, I was like, "Wait, where's Squid? Like, where's no, not Squid, but where's the red light,
Where's
green
Red
light?
Light,
Like,
Green Light? Yeah.
yeah." And like, when I watched the season one, like, I remember a lot of people got out, and I was like, "That is, yo, I could not imagine."
Right.
Um, I also heard, so like when I was watching other interviews, I watched this podcast named Reality Alert, and multiple people on this podcast from Squid Game season two said that like there was like a time where like everyone was just like, I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore. We could split the money. How did that go about? Like people were considering like just stopping the game. It reminded me of the original season of Squid Game where people were
Right.
like, I don't want to play. I don't want to play. And then I think they came back. How
Right.
like that happened in season two? Why didn't they show that? Like how like what happened? Like what really happened there? Because I'm like, I didn't get to see that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw um again, like I go back to it's 1 minute for every 10 hours, right? And so it looks like they can't be that frustrated. It hasn't even been going on that long. That game of Mingle lasted so long. It kept getting more and more intense with every round. And I think people think, yes, you're fighting against each other, which is true, but also there's an element of us against production. And we had kind of gotten in the mindset of this doesn't feel fair. This game almost feels a little bit um kind of like the real Squid Game where they're watching us get into our heads and mentally fight each other almost
Yeah.
for their entertainment. And so I think we kind of saw ourselves as a unit against production for
Yeah.
in
Oh my
that
God. Oh
particular
wow.
moment.
Okay.
And so I think it was one person's idea, but they said, we're not playing anymore. We've lost too many people. We don't know how
Oh
long
my
this is going to
God.
go on. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
We keep grieving people, and then it happens again, and then you grieve people, and then it happens again, and your alliances are going against you, and you're fighting against your best friend, or your dad, or your sister, or
Yeah.
your twin, whatever
I
it is.
can imagine.
And so it was one person's idea, and I think everyone collectively thought that's a good idea because if we don't play, they don't
Yeah.
get that footage. And in
Oh
that
wow.
moment, that sounded like the best idea. So it wasn't that we were giving up the money. We were just
Yeah.
thinking, for this one game now, we don't want to give them anything else.
Oh
We're done.
wow. Oh
And
my God.
so it was super dramatic. It was also just as simple as if we don't play, they don't get to film it. And that's good enough for us. So we all
Oh
held
wow.
hands, and I remember they announced the next number is two, and we counted and we thought we'll all make it through. Okay, this is our agreement with production,
Yeah.
right? We'll all get through, we'll give them their mingle ending, it'll be done. Little did we know that in itself was a trap.
That's crazy.
So we all get in our number
Yeah.
two. Of course, they present us with marbles. And in what felt like an agreement between us and production, just created a bigger divide.
And then it led you guys to marbles, which
Yep.
marbles, I'm winning. Like I have to win marbles. Like you're like I have to win marbles. Or
Yeah.
like or like even just like imagine like doing marbles. If let's say I went on with like a family member, I can imagine doing marbles with that person. I'm like,
I
no, like
know.
like send me. Like I know I could win it for us. Like
Right.
I couldn't imagine. And then also I was there was this one player, I forget his name. He was like I think he came third place overall. He was like,
Steven?
yes, Steven.
Yes.
Or like it was either Steven or some other guy, but Steven, how do you feel about him talking about Natalie with me? I don't know if you guys if you watched it back. Speaking about
Yeah.
Natalie and being like, Natalie, she deserved to go out. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I was like, Natalie deserved to stay. Like I liked Natalie.
Yeah. I was really good friends with Natalie in the game and
Yeah.
after the game. And the advice she kept telling me and everyone that she was friends with was, if it's ever a choice between me and you, I'm going to choose me and I hope you choose you. And that advice is so
It's so
relevant to a game
yeah.
like this because, of course, it's an individual game, it's an independent game, but we often forget that. We often want to extend our empathy onto others, which you can for a little while, but in the end, you have to choose yourself and you want your friends to choose themselves too.
Exactly.
And so I think in that moment, Steven kind of forgot that a little bit, right? Natalie's choosing herself, yet he expects her to choose him in the group, right?
Yeah.
And from her perspective, she's doing what's best for her game. From their perspective, you're maybe going against the team. So I definitely see both sides of it. But knowing Natalie, I know it was just that advice ringing true in her head. If it's ever between me and you, I'm going to choose me, and I hope you choose you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I'd rather choose myself. I feel like though when I'm
Mhm.
watching these game shows, I'm like, what if I did choose a friend? Like, what if my friend from
Yeah.
college was on this show with like but you can't like in Squid Game, you cannot choose yourself. Like, cause you would do anything. Hold on. You would do anything to like win. Like if you were real like if there's people who are really determined, they're gonna do anything. And I feel like that's how like Perla won too, because like she was choosing herself. Even in
Yeah.
that moment when where like, she was making decisions like the slides. And I think she like ordered like, that mom to like, do something with the slides. She was just like,
Yeah.
tell it to my son. I was like, what? Like this is a game. Like
I
and
know.
then Perla, you had her crying. Like she was so emotional and like I feel like being authentic too and like being humble gets you really far in the game too.
Yeah, absolutely. I had thought about that before going on the game. Would I ever directly eliminate one other person? And if I did, how would I make that decision? I remember maybe day two or three, I looked around the dorm and had the thought of if I had to eliminate someone right now, who would I pick? And so in my mind, I picked three different people, right, that I didn't know, hadn't met, just kind of looked like
Yeah.
that'd be a decent choice. And so I made it a point to go meet each of those people just to see if would that have been a good decision. And let me tell you, every single person I met, I would leave the conversation going, well, that's the greatest person I ever met, so I can't
Yeah.
eliminate them. And it hit me that everybody has a story. Everybody has a reason for being here. I'm not going to find a single person that I can truly justify directly eliminating. So if I did do that, if I did have to do that, I think I could do it, but I think I would have to do it to someone I had never met because once you meet someone, your empathy extends and you now do feel a level of protection over that person.
How did you get eliminated? Like I remember I watched everything, but I'm like, I don't remember like seeing you get eliminated. Like, how did you
Yeah,
get
I got
eliminated?
out in marbles against Max.
Marble. Okay, marbles. Marble, that's a tough game. Okay.
It was, yeah. Looking back, I think had I done a chance game, a game maybe which marble is which hand has the marble or something, I probably
Yeah.
could have gotten through. But I had prayed the same prayer every morning that I was there, and that prayer was, Heavenly Father, if it is in your will and if it will glorify you, let me make it through another day, let me make it through another game, and if not, let me go home with my head held high. And every single morning I had this same feeling like I'm gonna make it through today.
Yeah.
Just this overwhelming confidence. And I did. And then that morning, I felt different after that prayer.
Oh
I
my
had
God,
a
okay.
shift in my emotion, in my spirit.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I'm going home today. And
Oh
that's
my.
okay.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
know I'm aware of it. I can go ahead and grieve the loss of that. So I didn't throw my game by any means. I think the score in the end was 17-18. So I came really close to
Oh
beating
wow.
him. But
Oh
in the
my
end,
God.
I
Yeah.
lost and I was able to accept that. I looked at Max. I said, go ahead, do it for us. Because he was
Yeah.
my best friend in the game. And I said, go on, win it all for us. And I'll be proud of you. I'll be watching you.
How do you feel now with everyone saying that your season is scripted? Now, I watched, yeah, me watching season two, I'm like, this seems scripted than season
Yeah.
one. How do you feel about everyone saying like, there's your season is scripted? Because I'm like, I feel like it's scripted too, but I'm like, maybe it's not scripted then.
Yeah. I'll say this going into a reality game show, you do have this slight belief that it is rigged, that it is scripted, right? And I remember thinking after each and every game, there would have been no way for them to predict that.
Yeah,
There would have been no way for them to script that. What happened was greater than anything they could have written or prepared for or known to be coming, right? Even down to like Jonty picking Viper.
yeah,
They could have never predicted that Viper's elimination would be the most dramatic elimination in Catch, right? And so again, I think just letting the reality of reality TV happen, it ends up exponentially better than anything you could have scripted. And so it wasn't scripted, and I can't ever convince anyone of that unless they were just there and
yeah,
saw it also. Of
exactly.
course, the only scripted part of it is who they choose to follow, right? They kind of make that decision early on, and of course, for this season, it was some of the duos. But again, they can't make them say anything, make them do anything. If they got out in pentathlon, they would have gone home, right?
Exactly,
There's no
yeah.
way to rig a game like pentathlon.
Pen-
And so,
yeah.
I totally see it how people think it was scripted, but I think if you've never been on a reality TV show, you don't realize how good the reality of reality TV is, that they don't
No,
need to script
literally.
anything.
Like they don't. I feel like this also like this show was like based on luck too. So it's like
Yes.
it like for example, the first game where they had like the breathing, that oh my God, I felt bad for that girl where they made her
I
count. I was like,
know.
oh my God, like and I feel like this game is like based on like if you were in the room, if you like and I was like, I think I would have known to choose red, like choose the red room.
Yeah,
Cause I and like I take so many notes on this show. Like I was like, I think I would have known to like choose the red room, but it's like people who chose the blue room, like they kind of got unlucky, like just the first round. So I saw a lot of people,
exactly.
I saw people like getting out so fast, so quickly, which I'm also just like, is this show like also based on luck or like is it also like strategy too?
I think there's a degree of both. So choosing XO, we had very little to base that decision on, right? Of course, some people looked at the twins, but they're twins. It's not like you can say that one
Yeah,
looks smarter, that one looks stronger. They're twins, right? I
yeah,
didn't even see the twins. I was in the back of the dorm when we made that decision, and just automatically in my gut, I felt X. I had nothing to base that
yeah,
decision on, right? But I felt X. And a lot of my friends that I just made that morning chose O. And of course, they're begging me to come over there, and I'm begging them to come on my side. And once the decision was locked in, I was with only two of my friends on my side, and I think 15 of our friends were on the other side, but we all felt that same urge in our gut that we were on the right side.
yeah,
And when we got into the room, we didn't do anything to participate in that game. You can see how many voices were already trying to be a participant in the
yeah.
game that
I
we just said,
remember.
this isn't something that we have necessarily skills in, so we'll just step to the back. And so, had I gone home, I couldn't have blamed, anyone but myself for choosing that. But
Yeah,
luckily, my team pulled through and we did, make it through that first game, but it's very much luck based.
it's so much luck based. What was like your hardest game that you played?
That's a good question. The first game, obviously, no. Pentathlon, our team didn't get shown because we had an easy game. We
Oh,
just did
okay.
everything pretty fast. Cards took a minute, but other than that, we did really well. Catch, I was super close in the front of the
Yeah,
line, so I
catch.
didn't really have a tough time with
I
that.
remember catch.
Yeah, I had my little like pigtails for that. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw me, my little buns.
I think I did see you.
Yeah. Mingle, I guess I would have to say Mingle was the toughest game, but even still, I had such a big alliance going into
Yeah.
Mingle that I really felt safe no matter what number they called. It was just the emotional and the mental toll that a game like that takes on you. Because imagine being in a state of fight or flight for 5, six
Yeah.
hours. It looks like it's just, maybe an hour of filming. It is a day process. And so just being in that heightened state of awareness where you're always ready for the next thing, but you never know when
Yeah.
it's coming. You never know what it's going to be when it comes. It just exhausts you. So at the end of Mingle, we were just drained
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, mentally. So I would have to say that was the most difficult game, but not because of the game itself, just all of the things that the game does to your well-being in that moment.
When I watch these game reality shows, I see like people have a lot of social anxiety. Like, do you have a lot of social anxiety when you're on the show? Like, did you have any anxiety with like, oh my God, like if it like let me talk this way so that I could portray as like nice and like humble. Like, what like did you have social anxiety or like did other people have social anxiety too?
I'm very extrovert, so for me, not really.
Okay.
I called myself a spoon in the game because I had really good relationships with a lot of small groups. And so I would go to one group, they would tell me something about somebody in the other group, and I would just go stir the pot a little bit. I'd go, "Did
Oh
you know what
wow.
they said about you? Did
Oh
you know
my
what they said about
gosh.
you?" And no one
Yeah.
expected it to be coming from me because,
Yeah.
again, I'm so good friends with each and every one of these individual groups that I really was able to form a big alliance in that way that a lot of people wanted to protect me in the end because I had all of these little relationships with small groups, whereas a lot of people just kind of stayed in their big group or in their small group even.
Yeah.
So my social anxiety wasn't too high. I also never expected to make it as far as I did. So I
Yeah.
made it that far and I was happy whenever I went home. So I wasn't super stressed about
Yeah. Leaving.
strategizing or making it through or what do I need to do to amp my game. I was just kind of having fun.
Okay. I was watching the game Catch and I was like, how did people get out like that? Like, and I didn't like the
Yeah.
rule that they had where it was just like you have to throw it. Like, I feel like you could have thrown it to the person closer to you because you have a
Yeah.
higher chance of catching the ball. Like, whenever I do catch, like, I make sure I'm close to the person. So I'm just like, I kind of
Exactly.
feel bad for people who left that game because they were throwing it to people who were like far, but they listened to
Right.
people who were giving the wrong advice, like, oh, throw it, like catch it to the person who's far, or like
Yeah.
just like throw it to like your team rather than like someone who's close. And then also Viper with who was with that guy who didn't want to turn around. Like, how did you feel about like just all that?
So I knew Dalton, the guy that refused to turn
Oh
around,
my God, yeah.
and I just have to be honest, he was a really nice guy.
Oh, okay.
When I knew him way before a catch, he was a nice guy. I remember my water bottle fell off the bunk one day and he picked it up and said, "Wait, this is empty. I'll go fill it up for you." I didn't know
Oh
him.
my God, that's so nice.
He went and filled up
Yeah,
my drink and sat with us. We got to know him a little bit. Of course, everyone can be nice, even the meanest person that you know, right? So of course, at this
yeah.
stage in the game, I just thought he was a nice guy. So when I saw that happen in catch, I was astonished
Oh my
because
God.
I know that's the guy that filled up my water bottle. That's the guy that
Yeah,
told me about his life story. He can't be acting like this. But again, it goes back to you're hungry, you're sleep deprived. You've
yeah,
been standing there for now 7 hours maybe,
yeah.
and so I think it was all of that just really got into his head. And I cannot justify what he did even a little bit, but I'll tell you, it shocked me because that went against everything that I had previously known about him in the game.
Oh wow, okay. I feel like if I was like on that show, like I don't know, I feel like I would just been listening to what everyone's saying. Like me personally, because like especially like I think of like how like I play games like when I was in school, like I'm always a type of person that's like even if I'm so tired or like, sleep
Yeah,
deprived, like I'ma just listen just for the sake of like building friendships and just
right.
like flying under the radar.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
agree. I was like that too. I never wanted to do anything that would disappoint me or my family back home watching. I knew when this
Yeah.
aired, my whole family's going to see it. So whether it's something I say or something I do or a way I act, I never wanted to get home
Yeah.
and have my family see that and go, "We don't recognize you in that moment." That would crush me, you know?
Yeah. Was there, like, any drama between, like, you or, like, any other players, like, between any other players, like, more drama, like, behind the scenes?
Definitely. And, it being so long ago, it's tough to remember who individually
Yeah.
had issues with who. I know Matt, player 98, he got a little bit fed up with Max at one point in time, the curly-headed guy. Um,
Okay.
and they kind of not even went back and forth, but Matt would say something about Max and it would get back to him, or Max would call him Baldy and it would get back to him. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
little stuff like that, but that just is really reflective of the real world, right? That's how it
Yeah.
goes in coworker situations or in team bonding or even in families, right? So I guess in any environment where you have a lot of people in a close confined space for any amount of time, of course there's going to be arguing, there's going to be little stuff, but nothing ever really got to a level of
Okay.
intensity. You kind of knew at the end of the
Okay.
day, I've got to sleep in the same room as this person, so I don't need to make it worse for
Oh,
myself.
yeah, okay. Oh my god, I like, the dorms, like, oh my god, like, sleeping with I feel like that would've been fun, though, like, it reminds me of college dorms,
It felt
where,
like a
like
sorority house. That's what I said the
so we're
whole time. I
yeah
loved that
oh,
aspect of it.
yeah. It, like were there people who stayed in hotels, like, and who didn't, like, get shown at all? Like, 'cause, like, I heard, like, people, like, they kinda got picked, but, like, you made it like, if you made it past the interview process, like, you got picked. There was also, like, another process where, like, you have to be in hotels, and you have to also be picked that way too, like, was there that as well?
So yeah, once you get told that you're going on the show, they fly you to London at the end of January and you have to be isolated in a hotel room for 2 days. Now, during that point in time, everyone there is already confirmed going on the game, but they have extras. Maybe they have 10 extra people that they flew out in case something happened. So a
Okay.
few people did kind of lose their minds not having their phone or not having technology or being in a confined space all alone. And they said, I don't want to do this. I can't go into the
Oh
game.
my
And
god,
so
yeah.
they got replaced with an extra. I don't know exactly how many people that happened
Yeah.
to, but when you flew to London, you were under the impression I'm going in the game. So unless
Yeah,
something happened
okay.
and you got replaced with one of the extras,
Oh,
you were going
okay.
in the game.
Oh, okay. How
Yeah.
do you how do you feel about the winner of Squid Games, Perla?
I adore her. I think she
Yeah.
truly had one of the best social games. She's
Yeah.
incredibly emotionally intelligent. So every person that she meets, she can find something in common with. I don't know if that
Yeah.
comes from her background in the Dominican and then New York and then Los Angeles. And she's worked in modeling. So she's just maybe seen a lot of people, known
Yeah.
a lot of people, known a lot of backgrounds. But she was able to connect with every single person on the show in a very personal way. I
Yeah.
got to know her. Actually, in catch, I caught her ball and I threw it to Jeffrey. I was
Oh
between
my
her and her
god.
brother.
Okay. Oh,
And that was a lot
wow.
of pressure too, because I'm thinking
Yeah.
I could be responsible for either of them going home right now, and I would feel awful. But I got to know both of them really well, and I couldn't have been happier that Perla won in the end.
It's crazy how, like, her brother sent her and, like, she actually won, like, that is
Right?
crazy. Like, that is so crazy. Like,
Yeah,
any
something I've said about
yeah.
Jeffrey before is he definitely had a strategy, but he wasn't just always talking strategy. So he remained a pretty low threat, right? People were always
Yeah.
talking about eliminating Zoe and Kurt or the twins, but nobody
Yeah.
was really talking about Perla and Jeffrey. They just kind of slid by because, again, strategic, but not always talking strategy.
Yeah, and you can, like if you have a family member, like, you cannot let anybody know, like, I have a family member because like, they're gonna try to get either you or, like, the
Exactly.
person out. Like, I cannot imagine they're going with, like, a sibling, and then it's just, like, like, everybody knows. So, like, you have to kinda, like,
Yeah.
fly under the radar or whatever like that. Anything else, like, you wanna add?
Um, It was just such a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did it. I'm so thankful I did it. I never expected my life to change from it, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier to just go back to a normal life with these wonderful memories and these
Yeah.
wonderful relationships and these friendships that'll last a lifetime. So I would say if anyone's looking into applying for season 3, definitely do it. Definitely
Yes.
follow through. Be yourself. That's how they're going to want you on the show. They're
Yeah.
always looking for people that are themselves. And yeah, it was just one of the greatest experiences for me.
I actually applied for season 3.
Ah, that's so
I don't know
exciting.
if I'm gonna get on though because the application process is like they ask you for a lot.
It's
And then
intense.
also yeah, and also I've never like traveled before. So I'm just like flying to UK? Like, do you have to fly to
Yeah.
go to the interview, then you go back home, then you see if you got on the show? Like, is there an
No, no,
in-person
no.
interview?
It's all virtual
All
interviews, and
virtual,
then
okay.
you find out that you got on the show, and they fly you to London. That's the first time you travel.
Really?
And especially
Yeah.
for someone like you who's never traveled, what a better way than doing it for free, right?
Exactly.
I
Like
think you
doing
should
it for free in the
absolutely do
UK.
it.
I know I'm praying they get back, but I'm also just like a lot of people apply to this show, like
Sure.
everybody and their moms like apply to this show basically.
I
So I'm
think
just
our
like,
season had 200,000 applicants.
oh my God. No, it's a lot to pick from. That's crazy. Like getting picked from like one in like 2000, like that's impressive.
Right. So truly getting picked for the show, I already felt like I had won. Right? I know a lot
Yeah.
of people thought, "Oh, I'm not going to feel like I won unless I make it through 5 games or something." For me, I
Yeah.
was thinking the top
You already
456 out of
won.
200,000, I won. They saw
Yeah.
something in me that maybe I didn't even see in myself, and that's a win in itself. Yeah.
That is such a big win. Like, props to you. It reminds me of like kind of like applying to college. Like, you get
Yeah,
picked, like, like or applying to scholarships too. Like, just applying like stuff like this. Like, you get like like your chance is so small. But if you make it just past like getting chosen, like you won because then even
you're right.
after like you got chosen and you don't win, you still could leave with something. You still leave with screen time. Like you'll
Yes.
still have forever friend, like forever lasting friend. Like most people, like they
Mhm.
don't even get that. So it's like that's really impressive. So yeah. So
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
what's next in life for you? Like post show, like what's next?
I'm finishing my PhD.
Oh,
I'm
PhD.
living in
Okay.
Atlanta. I have the cutest little nephew.
Period. Okay.
Hopefully my life goes exactly back to normal
Yeah.
because I had a wonderful life before the show and I have a wonderful life after. So I'm excited to just go back to the normal routine of things.
Oh my God. Well, it was nice talking to you. Hopefully, I could talk to other cast members too. And I'll
Yeah,
like maybe we could talk again. Maybe to like give another update if you make it on another reality show. Who knows? So yeah.
I would
But it
love that.
was
Well, thank you
nice
so
meeting
much,
you.
Vanessa. I really
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
reaching out and making time for it.
Me too. I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.